do. Now, I'll do all the talking. I'm gonna make this fast, because any minute the phone will ring, and it'll be the goddamn Senate wanting me to come over for some more questions. The Senate, this is
Partridge, Mr. Blessington.
Yes, Jack Blessington told me you were coming. The Senate, Mrs. Partridge, is driving me crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'm there every day, it seems to me. Just settling down to work here, getting out the stuff, and bang, the goddamn Senate says, come over and answer questions. What I'm doing. What I'm not doing. Why? A senator, Mrs. Partridge, is the only man on God's green earth who is allowed to talk forever without knowing what he's talking about, and nobody can stop him. Nobody. Greatest time waster in the world, the United States Senate. And there's nothing anybody can do about it. Absolutely nothing. I'm there for hours, days, weeks.
Well, I
But
just
Eva,
need-
no, the French can't have it. Now, I know why you're here, Mrs. Partridge. I know just what you're after. The answer is no.
But you haven't even...
Remember,
figured
this
out
isn't
how-
business down here. Not like business at all. I've made a discovery here in Washington. And I'll tell you what it is. Honesty. Just plain honesty. I'm not used to it yet, but I'm starting to get the hang of it. Been in business all my life, and a man can't change overnight. Anyhow, I'm working on it. In another month or so, it'll turn the trick. But if you're not honest down here, they catch you at it, and then you do get hell. McKeever, okay for the Eskimos. So the answer is no. No contracts with General Products, Mrs. Partridge. Because I give M to M, the goddamn Senate will be on my neck, and I've had about all I can stand.
You know, I sort of thought that you would be a big, silent man. You're big, but you're not silent.
I've got nothing to be silent about.
Now, why don't you just sit down behind that desk and just be silent? It'll do you good. Come on, try it. Fine. Why, I'd have known you anywhere. You look just like your boss downstairs.
That isn't me, that's Stonewall Jackson.
No, not here. I mean downstairs at the General Products building.
Oh? As opposed to me in the General Products building?
Oh, yes. Didn't you know? It's very good, too.
A statue, eh? Now, they didn't have to go and do a thing like that. How big is it?
Oh, it's big.
Whereabouts is it?
Right across from the elevators. So it's the first thing you see coming in and going out.
Yeah?
And on dark days, there's a light in the ceiling that shines right down on your head.
Sort of like a halo.
Now, don't tell me they forgot to write you about.
I don't see a third of the mail that comes in. No time. Now, we do get a minute, the goddamn Senate steps it.
No.
What's the matter?
You mustn't think about the goddamn Senate. That's what gets you all worked up.
I'm gonna keep thinking about it when...
What? It just occurred to me. Are you Taurus the Bull?
How's that?
I'm Leo the Lion. I was born July 25th. When's your birthday?
April 7th.
Oh, Aries, the ram. No wonder you're successful in business. J.P. Morgan was around too.
I think I'm following you, Mrs. Partridge.
Oh, I have a hobby, horoscopes.
Horoscopes? Really? Can you tell fortunes?
Oh, heavens, no, that sort of thing is silly, but the zodiac, well, it may not always be accurate, but you'd be surprised how often. Well, let's take you for example. You're a regular ram. I can understand how you did all those things at General Products, building it up into such a big company.
Tell me, Mrs. Butchers, how long have you been with the firm?
Not long.
What company were you with before that?
Oh, I wasn't with a company before. I was on the stage.
The stage? You mean an actress?
46 productions.
Don't say. You know something, I always had an idea that I'd like to have been an actor.
Oh, I'm glad you did, Mr. McKeever. It's a terrible business.
It's kind of fascinated me. Clyde Fitch, Shakespeare. Did you ever do Shakespeare?
A little bit, not much.
Must have been wonderful.
I never cared much for Shakespeare. He's so tiring. You never get to sit down unless you're a king.
I used to recite a lot when I was a boy. All kinds of things. Then, I don't know. Something happened. All of a sudden I was a businessman.
You're lucky. Almost nobody makes a living in the theater anymore.
People used to think I was pretty good. Well, for an amateur. Used to do recitations Friday afternoons. You know, in school.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't go on the stage, Mr. McKeever. You're better off even here.
Still would have been fun. Had one recitation, he used to applaud like everything after I finished.
Well, the applause is very nice, but the rest,
And Professor Slith, that was our elocution teacher. He had me do it for the parents and everybody at the end of the term. They put it in the paper. Nice write-up. Spoke with real fire, it said. Real fire!
that's a good notice.
Spartacus to the gladiators.
What?
That was the name of the piece, Spartacus to the gladiators.
Oh,
You know, I still remember it.
well, really, that happens, something that you learned when you were young, but all your life it...
You call me chief. You wouldn't do me a big favor. Listen to it, would you? Tell me what you really think.
I'd love to.
Mind you, if you don't like it, say so.
Oh, I will. Whenever I go backstage to somebody's dressing room.
Because hell, I'm never going to be an actor now. Be foolish at my age. Wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Yes. Anyhow, here it is. I haven't done this for years, mind you.
Well, I know.
Not since I was a boy. Let the carrion rot. There are no noblemen here but Romans.
Oh, I'm awfully glad you didn't try to be an actor, Mr. McKeever.
You are?
Yes, because
McKeever, oh, good morning, Senator. Yes, I'm fine. And you? Did you read my report? Well, just between us, what do you think of it? What? Before your committee? But I was there yesterday and twice last week. Very well, Senator. 9:30 tomorrow morning. Copies of all contracts. I'll be there. Well, there you are. How can you expect a man to get anything done when he has to keep running to those committee rooms all the time? Get everything ready, every contract, every letter, every memorandum. It's up before the goddamn Senate again tomorrow morning. Enough to drive a man crazy. Senate, Senate, Senate.
oh, Mr. McKeever, why do you do it?
What?
Why don't you refuse?
Refuse? It's the goddamn Senate.
And why don't you quit?
What do you mean quit?
Quit. Just quit. Walk out. Don't come back. You don't have to do this, Mr. McKeever. Not if it's going to do this to you.
That's so, I don't.
Besides, they need you at General Products. I didn't want to come right out and say it, but those other men are terrible. They're going to ruin the company. There won't be any dividends at all.
Ruin the company? Mrs. Barger, would you have lunch with me and talk some more about this?
I'd be glad to.
I'm going out to lunch, Miss Logan. I'll be back in an hour. 2 hours, I don't know. Where would you like to eat, Mrs. Partridge? Anything you say.
You know where I'd love to go? I heard so much about the Senate restaurant.
Oh my God.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I didn't want to do the whole
Waiting,
monologue.
what?
He has a big monologue.
Yeah, I didn't want to tie you
You
up
know,
with the
when
monologue.
he does the recitation, that is so hysterical. And when he went by, I went,
Yeah, I didn't want to tie you up with the whole monologue, you know.
Didn't want what?
Well, it's 2 pages of the monologue, you know.
Okay.
I just cut it down,
Yeah,
because I know you had other things you wanted to do.
yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. You know, this is some of the best work I've seen you two do, in many ways. You're very natural, and you really, I thought, played off of each other quite well. Tom, as good as you are in this, I have to say it's lazy acting. Meaning, you look like you're reading. And are you reading? No, you're not reading. You're using a script. There's a difference. This is reading. You see? If you're going to use a script, and by the way, most of the work we do as professionals, 80% of it is using scripts. I mean, how many, you get to learn a play and do a play. How often is that? Most of the time we're reading in rehearsals. Most of the time the work is holding scripts. So you don't have to be good at holding scripts. You have to be brilliant at holding scripts. And you're reading. There were times you were looking at her when she was speaking, but when you're reading, you have to find a way to read and play. You have to find a way to do that. You can't be good at it, you have to be great at it. And when somebody says something to you, and you talk to the secretary, you were reading. You have to hear her see something, and then you have to answer. We have to see that. Otherwise, why don't we go to the fucking library and read the play? I don't need to see that. Do you see what I mean? I mean, you have to make it happen. That's what I mean, right?
I thought about that several times.
I'm sorry?
I thought about that several times as I was doing it. I said, this is like reading. It's like, you know.
No, but you're not a beginner, Tom. This is not excusable for you. This is not excusable for you. You're good, but you're not a beginner. So I expect a lot more, you see. You should be expecting a lot more, and you shouldn't need notes from me about that. Not at this stage, anyway. You know what I mean? So if something's happening, you make that happen. You don't read it happening. You see her, and you react, and then, you look at the book, sure, but that's not that's something you have to do. You have to do that. It's not something that's nice to do, it's something you have to do. Okay?
Can I just ask a question? What is her reason for coming here?
They sent her from the company because they gave her a job because she's been a nuisance. She's read every single thing in that stockholders report. And she also knows that they're putting their companies out of business.
But she's a stockholder.
Yes, she is.
And so there's one overriding thing that she's worried about, and that is her dividend.
Well, yes, but she's worried about more. She knows that they sent her down because they're trying to get rid of her, and they don't want Medina.
And what are you getting at? I'm sorry.
Yeah, what I'm getting at is I thought you were too calculating, you were too sharp at what you were doing.
I think she
You
is.
think she is? Because I thought she was an innocent who falls into this thing, and one thing leads to another.
No.
Yeah, but she has her own agenda. What they're sending her
Okay.
down for, and what she plans to do when she
Right
gets
from the
there.
beginning.
And
she
the,
has-
Yeah.
and the
Oh.
plays, and when is the play written?
1955.
And in 1955, if you look at the history, you see women that are just as calculating on television, I don't think so. I think if you look at your history, the women that we see are somewhat calculating, but they use different ways. How would you dress, CJ, for this role?
A suit, like a real business.
And I don't agree,
The
but I
best
understand.
one.
And I understand why you would do that, because that is the way that you're playing her.
Mhm.
But in most cases, particularly in that era, women use a little bit of their feminine wiles. That's the reason at the end of the scene, he says to you, let's go out to lunch. And I think, you don't have to agree, I think that when she goes in, she charms him. And from that charm, she's able to get what she wants.
That's a 1950s woman, yeah, that's true.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
And what Roger said and what Ed said, that's the history. That's when you're going to look at a scene. You need to invest. You can't go and look at it as a 21st century woman looking at that. You have to go back and realize Donna Reed, all those people in the 50s. Look how Loretta Young, all of them. Was Loretta Young a businesswoman? Was Lucy a businesswoman? Absolutely, they were businesswomen. That's why we remember them now. And they went at that time. They could only do what the society would let them do. She would come in,
Okay.
and I think that's why the scene ends. Again, CJ, you don't have to agree with me. I'm just showing you a little bit of some, because that I think is why the scene ends with him saying
But
two
Vincent,
things. Just let me
Sure.
two things. That's why the scene ends with him saying, "I'm going to go out to dinner or lunch." He's just met her. I'm going to go out for wait a minute. Not 1 hour, maybe 2, maybe 3. Yeah, that's that smile. That's what the scene ends in. She comes in with the agenda. She's able to use. It's not verbal stuff. The verbal stuff is written there. That's what that underlining thing is.
Good.
And she's outsmarting it.
that's
I'm
great.
sorry about that.
That's great. And also, Vincent,
Okay.
what that does, it's not just whether it's agreed or not, I happen to agree very much with what you're saying, that we absolutely have to look at when these plays are written and the behavior and all of that in that period of time. But beyond that, that way of looking at the role would give the actor much more range. Can you see that?
Okay.
If you make that choice,
Okay.
you have more range to
Yeah.
go as an actor because you have more than just the calculating thing. That calculating thing is underneath. And then you have, you know what I mean? And you might show it in a couple of places if you want, but it's only in a few places. Other than that, it's kind of, so you want to always, as an actor, when Vincent says you can agree or not, you know, we can justify,
I
as
do.
actors,
I think
we
it's-
can, no, but we can justify anything as actors, by the way. You can always say, I don't see it that way, I see it this way.
Okay.
In the end, the best way is the way that often shows your character off to your advantage. That you
Okay.
can get the most colors as an actor.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? The most levels. That's the artistic choice that you want to try to make, if you can. You know, rather than I think this and that's the way I'm going to do it. You could be absolutely right or wrong. It doesn't matter. But what is going to help you as an actor to show more levels?
Which will get him to react a lot more.
Yeah.
Because of this, he has to react to a beautiful woman.
Point taken.
Our-
And I think I know what to do about that.
You
Thank you.
articulated what I wanted to say, and that was, you were 2000 and, you know.
And 14.
Yes.
That, no, point taken.
Okay.
That's
And
valid.
that's
All right,